Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 103, top of the page with the words Ein Nimdadin Ima. 103a, Kuf Gimel, Amud Aleph. Ein Nimdadin Ima, Pachas Mikan, Nimdadin Ima. They are not measured together with the rest of the field. If the crevices or rocks were less than 10 handbreadths, they are measured together with the rest of the field. Ve'amai. The Gemara asks, but why are the crevices that are deeper and the rocks that are higher than 10 handbreadths not measured with the rest of the field? Lik doshu be'anpei nafshayu. V'chitem akevan lo havi beis kor lo kadshi v'hatanya sadeh ma'atamud lomar the fish nemar zera chomer so'orim machamishim shekel kasef ein li ela shikdish b'inyan hazeh. The Gemara asks, but why are the crevices that are deeper and the rocks that are higher than 10 handbreadths not measured with the rest of the field? Let them at least be consecrated separately and require their own redemption. And if you would say that since they are not the size of a beit kor, they cannot be consecrated, there's a difficulty. But isn't it taught in Batra concerning the verse, and if he that sanctified the field will redeem it, Leviticus 27:19? Why must the verse state the word field? Since the previous verses are all discussing a field, it would have sufficed for this verse to refer to the field with the pronoun it. Rather, as it is stated in an earlier verse, then your valuation shall be according to the seed required for it. A homer of barley seed shall be valued at 50 shekels of silver. Leviticus 27:16. I have derived only the halacha in the case of one who consecrated in this manner, meaning an area fit to sow a homer of barley seed. Minayin l'rabos lesech v'chatzi lesech sa'ah tarkav v'chatzi tarkav talmud lomar sadeh mikol makom. The Brisa continues, from where do I learn that this halacha is also meant to include the case of one who consecrated a smaller area? For example, an area fit to sow a letech, which is a half a kor, a half letech, a sa'ah, a tarkav, and half tarkav. From where is it derived that these smaller plots of land can also be consecrated and redeemed in accordance with the fixed values stated in the Torah? The verse states a field, teaching that this halacha applies in any case of a field, even to smaller plots. Amar Rav Ukva bar Chama ha chabineka imelei imayim askinan de la b'nei zriyaninu de kanami diktani dumya de seloim shmamina. Rav Ukva bar Chama said, here in the Mishnah in Arachin, we are dealing with crevices filled with water, being that they are not fit for sowing, they cannot be consecrated, as the verse states. Then your valuation shall be according to the seed required for it, Leviticus 27:16. The Gemara comments the language of the Mishnah is also precise, according to this interpretation, as it teaches the halacha about crevices that are similar to rocks, which are certainly not fit for sowing. The Gemara affirms, learn from this that this explanation is correct. Ihachi afilu pachos mikanami hanuni ngoni de'aru mikru shidrei de'ara mikru. The Gemara raises a difficulty. If this is so, that the crevices and rocks of the Mishnah are excluded from being consecrated because they are unfit for sowing, then even if they are less than 10 handbreadths in depth or height, they also should be consecrated. The Gemara answers, if the crevices or rocks are less than 10 handbreadths deep or high, these crevices are called the cracks of the earth, and these rocks are called the spines, shidrei, of the earth. In other words, since they are considered standard features of the field and do not constitute separate areas, they are consecrated together with the rest of the field. Hachamai Amarav Papa Afalpi she'ein melehim mayim my time ein adam writes she yitzin moisav memakam echad v'yoru lo kashnayim u'shloshim ekamos. The Gemara asks, the halacha stated above was taught with regard to consecrated property. Here, in the case of a sale of land with regard to which the Mishnah teaches that crevices 10 handbreadths deep are not measured along with the land, what is the halacha? Does that halacha apply only when the crevices are filled with water? Rav Papa said, even if they are not filled with water, they are not considered part of the field. What is the reason that in the case of a sale, crevices are not considered part of the field even if they are not filled with water? Because a person buying a field does not want to give his money for the purchase of one plot when it appears to him like 2 or 3 different plots due to differences in the height of the terrain. Therefore, those crevices that are 10 handbreadths deep are not measured along with the rest of the field, regardless of whether or not they are filled with water. Maskiv la Ravina. Ravina objects to this. V'hadum yedeslayim tani, ma'islayim delav b'nei zriyaninu afhani, nami delav b'nei zriyaninu kikatani dum yedeslayim apachis mikan. Ravina objects to this, but the Mishnah teaches the halakha about crevices in a manner indicating that they are similar to the rocks discussed in the Mishnah. Just as rocks are not fit for sowing, so too these crevices are such that they are not fit for sowing. But if they are not filled with water and are therefore fit for sowing, then even if they are lower than the rest of the field, they should be included in the sale. The Gemara replies, when the Mishnah teaches the halakha about crevices in a manner indicating that they are similar to the rocks discussed in the Mishnah, it teaches about crevices that are less than that, meaning less than 10 handbreadths deep. In such a case, even if they are not fit for sowing, they are measured along with the rest of the field. Pachos mikan imdadinima Amar Rav Yitzchak Trashim Shi Amru Beis Arba'as Kabin Amar Rav Ukva Bar Chama Vehu Shemu Blain Bechamishes Kabin Rav Chia Bar Abba Amar Rav Yochanan Vehu Shemu Blain Behu Bashel Zote. The Mishnah teaches that if the crevices or rocks in the field measured less than 10 handbreadths, they are measured together with the rest of the field. Rabbi Yitzchak says the rocks or crevices that measure less than 10 handbreadths that the sages said are measured together with the rest of the field must not measure more than an area required for sowing 4 kav of seed within an area required for sowing a core. Rav Ukva Bar Chama says this applies specifically where the rocks are scattered throughout an area required for sowing 5 kav. Rav Chia Bar Abba says that Rav Yochanan says this applies specifically where the rocks are scattered throughout the greater part of the field. Boy Rav Chia Bar Abba Ruba Meuta Umutan Beruba Mahu Teku. And at this point, I think I lost count of all the tekus. Must be in the 160s somewhere. I should get back on track with it. There's 2 tekus in a row here. Maybe we should get back on track. Maybe now is a good time to get back into my teku meditation. At any rate, Rav Chia Bar Abba raises a dilemma with regard to the halacha taught in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. If the majority of rocks are scattered throughout the smaller part of the field, and the minority of rocks are scattered throughout the greater part of the field, what is the halacha? The Gemara answers that the dilemma shall stand unresolved. No answer was found. Boy, Rav Yirmiyah raises another dilemma.